In Taisho-era Japan, Tenjiro Kamado lives with his family in the snowy mountains, providing for his family by selling charcoal at the nearby town. He is the eldest of 6 children, whom they all see Tenjiro as an inspiration for his hard labor and respectful nature. After his father's death, he becomes the family's sole provider. One day, after resting with a neighbor following a long day, he returns home to find his entire family slaughtered, save for his younger sister Nezuko. He soon discovers she has transformed into a demon, a powerful creature that possesses incredible regeneration and hunger for human flesh. They are found by a demon slayer who nearly kills her, but Nezuko unexpectedly protects Tenjiro, prompting the slayer to spare her, certain she won't harm humans. The demon slayer, Giyu Tomioka, gives Tenjiro instructions to meet someone and Tenjiro vows to turn Nezuko back into a human. While traveling, Tenjiro and Nezuko are attacked by a demon. They restrain it in a combined effort, but the two are soon met by Sakonji Urokodaki. Urokodaki orders Tenjiro to kill it, but he is hesitant to do so. The demon is ultimately killed by the rising sun's light, while Nezuko retreats indoors to avoid it. Worrying his kindness and weak resolve will be his undoing, Urokodaki takes Tenjiro and Nezuko to his hut on Mount Sagiri. He leaves a sleeping Nezuko inside and takes Tenjiro to the peak, before telling him to return to the hut before sunrise and abandoning him. Despite the thin air and numerous traps within, Tenjiro returns in time. Urokodaki reads the letter given by Giyu, asking him to train Tenjiro, and accepts him as his student. For the next year, Tenjiro trains with Urokodaki to better his physical form and learning a breathing technique called total concentration. Urokodaki also teaches him a breathing style called water breathing. He provides him with a Nichiren sword, forged with steel capable of killing demons. One day, he tells Tenjiro if he is able to slice a large boulder, he would allow him to enter final selection to be a demon slayer, then ceases further instructions and leaves. For 6 months, he continues to improve his form and technique by himself but fails repeatedly, keeping all his progress and Nezuko's slumber in a journal. He meets 2 children, Sabito and Makomo. The two, also trained by Urokodaki, teach him to better understand the lessons he was given for the next 6 months. Tanjiro constantly duels with Sabito, but is repeatedly defeated by his lack of speed. In a final spar, Tanjiro uses his newfound knowledge to find the opening line, a string that lets him visualize his moment to attack, on Sabito's neck. He is the first to attack, slicing Sabito's mask. He and Makomo disappear, and Tenjiro discovers his blow had cleaved the boulder in half. 2 years since Nezuko's transformation, Tenjiro leaves for final selection. Before doing so, Urokodaki warns him a demon's strength is based on the amount of people it has eaten. Reaching Mount Fujikisane, he and other applicants are informed that passing the selection involves surviving for 7 days. They leave the area covered in wisteria, a plant that demons despise, and begin their trial. Tanjiro uses his skills to great effect, maneuvering around the dense forest and killing demons. Soon, he and another applicant encounter a large and monstrous demon. The oldest on the mountain, it reveals it had devoured 50 applicants while imprisoned in the forest. Discovering Tanjiro's connection to Urokodaki, it gloats about killing 13 of his previous students, including Sabito and Makomo. Tanjiro had been training the past months with their ghosts without knowing of their fates. Enraged, Tanjiro attacks but is initially overwhelmed. He soon regains composure and decapitates the demon with his water breathing. As the demon disintegrates, the souls of Urokodaki's students depart to the afterlife. Even in its death, Tanjiro refuses to rebuke it, comforting the demon and causing it to cry in its final moments. Later, he attempts to ask several demons on how to return someone back into a human, without success. After the 7 days, Tanjiro finds his way into a large temple, surrounded by a wisteria forest. Tanjiro finds only 4 had survived final selection, including himself. The new demon slayers are given the rank Mizunoto, the lowest of the 9 ranks given to demon slayers, and are set to choose the ores of their swords to be forged. They are also given guide birds to lead them to missions, Tanjiro's being a Kashugai crow. 2 weeks after final selection, Tanjiro is given his own Nichiren sword by blacksmith Hotaru Haganezuka. Urokodaki explains that Nichiren swords change color once handled by their owners and upon wielding it. Tanjiro's sword turns black. On his first mission, Tanjiro heads to a village, where young girls are reported to have suddenly vanished, carrying Nezuko in a special box to protect her from sunlight. Tanjiro arrives to the village, enlisting the help of the most recent victim's fiancé Kazumi. He discovers she was abducted by a demon, following its scent that night and saving its next would-be victim. The demon is capable of a blood demon art, previously explained by Urokodaki as a unique spell used by powerful demons. He also explains only one demon is capable of transforming people. The progenitor Muzan Kibitsuji. The demon showcases its ability to form swampy portals that lead into its murky lair, and split itself into 3 clones. The clones reveal they abducted victims have already been devoured, and one of them showcases their collection of hairpins gathered from victims, including Kazumi's fiancé. Overwhelmed by the clones, Tanjiro is saved by Nezuko joining the battle, who was hypnotized by Urokodaki into believing other humans are her family and must be protected. Tanjiro kills 2 of the clones with his water-breathing technique, while Nezuko defends Kazumi and the girl from the 3rd clone. Tanjiro eventually corners it and asks what it knows about Muzan, only for the demon to grow terrified and attempt a suicidal attack. Tanjiro eventually defeats it for good. He gives Kazumi his fiancé's hairpin and tells him to move on. He is initially angered by his calm attitude, lashing out that he does not know the pain of losing someone loved. Upon looking on Tanjiro's eyes, however, he comes to realize he too has suffered through tragedy and apologizes profusely. Tanjiro makes his way to his next mission in Tokyo's Asakusa, which is sprawling with human activity. While eating udon from a vendor, Tanjiro detects a scent that was present in his house the day his family was killed. He follows it to a man with his wife and daughter, W, who turns out to be Muzan himself in disguise. Not wanting to deal with the demon slayer at that moment, Muzan transforms a nearby human into a demon to distract him, causing panic amongst the nearby crowd. Muzan escapes as Tanjiro struggles with the demon, but not before hearing his vow to find him again. In an alleyway, he displays his potent powers and wild nature by killing 3 people for annoying him. Muzan remembers a feared enemy from his past that had worn the same Hanafuda earrings he saw on Tanjiro, and tasks 2 demons, Susumaru and Yaiba, to track down and kill him. When police arrive, Tanjiro is nearly beaten when he refuses to let go of the demon but is saved by a bystander, Tamayo. Using her blood demon art to evade and confuse the police, they meet up at a house hidden by her assistant Yushiro's blood demon art. She reveals she and Yushiro are indeed demons, but they too wish to take down Muzan. Tamayo reveals to Tanjiro she only transformed Yushiro when he allowed her out of desperation, and that the two need small amounts of human blood to survive. As a doctor, Tamayo wishes to study Nezuko's physiology for her research. Suddenly, Susumaru and Yaiba arrive at Tamayo's house, prepared to fight. Susumaru uses her powerful temari to pummel the hidden house, revealing that she and Yaiba are members of the 12 Kizuki, powerful demons that serve directly under Muzan. Susumaru decapitates Yushiro with one of her temari, and while he regenerates, Tanjiro struggles to dodge the balls, which swerve in physically impossible directions and are difficult to slash. Yushiro helps him see the arrows that Yaiba is using to telekinetically control Susumaru's temari. Although Nezuko attacks Yaiba, the siblings are forced to change opponents, with Yushiro joining in to fight Susumaru using his blood demon art to battle Susumaru. At first, Yaiba overpowers Tanjiro by altering his trajectory as he tries to get close, and Nezuko's leg is blown off by a temari. However, Tanjiro recalls his training and, despite his fatigue, unleashes a combination to use the direction of Yaiba's arrows in his favor, closing the distance between him and beheading the demon. As Yaiba disintegrates, he tries to kill Tanjiro in his last moments by using his arrows to send Tanjiro upward and fall to his death. Tanjiro is forced to use consecutive water-breathing forms to lessen his impact and manages to survive. Albeit exhausted, given a healing serum by Tamayo, Nezuko rejoins the battle and increases her strength, matching Susumaru's power and now able to return Susumaru's temari kicks. Tamayo uses her blood demon art to lower Susumaru's alertness, causing her to accidentally say Muzan's name and triggering a curse that kills her. Tamayo realizes both demons are no T of the 12 Kizuki after examining Susumaru's eyeball, as they do not have a number on their eyes. Tanjiro laments over Muzan's cruelty, lying to demons and using their desperation in his favor. Huff Urokodaki had hypnotized her into thinking humans are to be protected. Nezuko's recognition of Tamayo in Yushiro as humans causes Tamayo to cry out of thankfulness. The siblings depart for Thay. Our next mission and Tanjiro encounters another demon slayer from final selection, harassing a woman into marrying him. Tanjiro stops the demon slayer, Zenitsu Agatsuma, from disturbing the woman. He reveals he hoped to die during final selection due to his weakness and low resolve. The two are directed by Tanjiro's crow to their next location, a large woodland mansion. Zenitsu reveals his ability is sharp and accurate hearing. Tanjiro sees two children, Shoichi and Teruko, who tell him a demon is inside. He and a reluctant Zenitsu enter, leaving Nezuko's box outside. The children unexpectedly enter too, but they are separated by the supernatural rooms, moving to the beat of a drum. Tanjiro, with Teruko, detects a large demon, the strongest one in the house. While looking for an exit, Zenitsu and Shoichi see another demon slayer. Wearing a boar mask, Tanjiro witnesses the demon's blood demon art, moving the room with the drums implanted on his body. At that moment, the boar-headed demon slayer enters, ready to attack. The rogue slayer attacks but is thwarted by the demon's blood demon art. He argues with Tanjiro and nearly attacks him when the demon also shows its ability to cause powerful invisible slashes with another drum in his body. Transported into another room, Tanjiro finds the sibling's oldest brother, Kiyoshi. Zenitsu is cornered with Shoichi by another demon and loses consciousness from fear. However, while asleep, he uses his thunder breathing to kill the demon instantly. After snapping back, Zenitsu believes it was Shoichi who defended him after seeing the demon's corpse on the ground, and returned to being scared. The rogue slayer also encounters a separate demon but kills it quickly. The drum demon, Kyogai, reveals his wish to kill the oldest brother for his blood and reclaim his place in the 12 Kizuki, previously stripped of his rank by Muzan. After directing the siblings to safety, Tanjiro battles Kyogai and begins to adapt to his drum's particular movements. Despite not fully recovered, he presses on and recalls Urokodaki's lessons about water breathing's adaptability, motivating him to fight. As they walk, Zenitsu and Shoichi are thrown outside by the room's movement. Kyogai, angered by Tanjiro's refusal to surrender, begins to attack erratically and nearly kills him. He remembers his life as a human, during which he was a drum player and composer. But his hobby was rebuked and laughed at by others. Angered by his painful past, he attacks Tanjiro more aggressively. Still injured, Tanjiro maintains his water breathing and eventually closes the gap between Kyogai, successfully decapitating him. As he fades, he asks if Tanjiro really thought his blood demon art was incredible. Tanjiro acknowledges it but mentions he can't be forgiven for murdering innocents. Kyogai, touched by Tanjiro's words, cries as he fades away, as someone had finally recognized his drum playing. Extracting Kyogai's blood with a vial, Tanjiro is met by Tamayo's cat, who takes the sample and vanishes. Taking the siblings outside, he sees Zenitsu being kicked by the rogue slayer for protecting Nezuko's box. Zenitsu realizes this demon slayer was the fifth survivor of final selection. He reveals he had known all along Tanjiro had been carrying a demon in the box but perceived him as being so kind. There must be a reason why. Tanjiro defends him and attacks the rogue demon slayer. Tanjiro tries to stop the rogue slayer by breaking his ribs. The slayer fights back, despite the taboo of demon slayers harming one another. Fighting like an animal, the slayer continues to attack and forces Tanjiro to retaliate. Eventually, Tanjiro headbutts them, causing the boar mask to fall off, revealing a feminine and delicate face despite the strong and muscular body. The slayer reveals himself as Inosuke Hashibira. Inosuke loses consciousness but wakes up later to the others burying the dead in the mansion. Tanjiro's Kashugai crow then directs them to descend the mountain. Bidding the siblings farewell, the demon slayers travel to a house, where an elderly woman inside helps them rest and recover. They soon discover what vastly different personalities they have. Inosuke informs them the only reason he entered final selection was to test out his abilities on demons. Zenitsu asks Tanjiro on his reason for carrying a demon, as Nezuko suddenly exits the box herself. Angered at Tanjiro for having a girl with him all this time, he chases Tanjiro, without even giving him the chance to explain. After making a full recovery, Tanjiro's Kashugai Ro informs the three demon slayers of their next mission, on Mount Natagumo. They bid the hosts farewell and begin their travel to the mountain. When night falls, however, Zenitsu becomes scared and grows hesitant. They come across another demon slayer but witness him suddenly pulled back into the mountain. Inosuke decides to lead and Tanjiro follows. Zenitsu stays put, too afraid to go in. They the forest covered in spider webs and come across another demon slayer, Murata. He reveals 10 of them were sent to the mountain but they began to spontaneously kill each other without warning. Hearing about the numerous deaths, the demon slayer corps sent 2 Hashiras to assist Gyu and Shinobu Kocho. Murata, Tanjiro, and Inosuke are attacked by the demon slayers, but realize they are being puppeteered by the webs attached to them. They are met by a short, pale demon, demanding they leave his family or, mother, will kill them. Needing a plan, Inosuke uses his beast breathing and accurate sense of touch, pinpointing the location of a demon. Murata stays behind to hold off the controlled demon slayers. Tanjiro and Inosuke leave, only to come across the rest of the controlled demon slayers. Mother, the puppeteer demon, is soon threatened by the demon from earlier, Rui, into killing them quicker or he would tell father. Terrified, Mother pushes the controlled slayers further and more desperately. Tanjiro and Inosuke discover how to stop the webs, but Mother pulls the webs attached to the heads of the demon slayers, breaking their necks. Angered, Tanjiro decides to push onwards and find her. They continue into the forest but meet Mother's strongest doll, a large, bladed, headless demon. Working together to coordinate their breathing, Tanjiro and Inosuke successfully kill the giant doll. Inosuke suddenly throws Tanjiro high into the air, where he spots Mother and descends to kill her. Initially scared, she realizes she would be freed from the abuse she has been suffering, and accepts her fate. Seeing her surrender, Tanjiro opts to use the gentlest water-breathing form and gives her a peaceful death. As thanks for blessing her final moments, Mother warns Tanjiro a member of the 12 Kizuki is on the mountain, As Tanjiro regroups with Inosuke, Zenitsu finds a spider with a human head. Running away, he enters a clearing strewn with webs and sees captured demon slayers transforming into spiders. Brother of the family emerges, telling Zenitsu he has already been bitten and will transform too. Terrified, he futilely climbs a tree as brother taunts him over his fate. Zenitsu reminisces on his time during training, how he repeatedly refused to train despite wanting to live up to his master's expectations. He loses consciousness and begins to attack, but Brothe's continuous volley of poison interrupts his form, revealed to be the first and only form of thunder breathing he could do. Despite this, his master encouraged him to hone it to perfection. Zenitsu recalls when a senior demon slayer had berated him for his weakness and training under their master, a respected former Thunder Hashira. Against all the pain he's felt throughout life, his master's sustenance and stewardship despite his cowardice encourages him to continue. He decapitates brother with his own variation of thunder breathing in attempts to slow the poison. Tanjiro and Inosuke come across daughter and attack. She calls out to father, and he emerges from the forest, determined to kill them. Gyu and Shinobu arrive at Mount Natagumo and split up to cover more ground. Tanjiro and Inosuke's blades don't hurt father due to his tougher skin. He eventually flings Tanjiro away, leaving Inosuke alone to fight him. Shinobu encounters Zenitsu, near death from the poison. Tanjiro ends safely but sees Rui torturing daughter over family matters. Tanjiro calls their familial bond fake, enraging Rui. Not wanting to feel weak, Inosuke decides to face father head-on and succeeds in cutting off a hand. Tanjiro battles Rui but is overwhelmed by his steel-like threads and is forced on the defensive. Rui, angered by his words and Tanjiro refusing to back down, threatens to kill him slowly. Inosuke finds father has shed his skin and grown stronger. Overpowered, Inosuke is severely wounded and his swords break as he tries to cut father's neck. Grabbed by the head, he is slowly crushed when Gyu arrives and rescues him. When father retaliates, the Hashira kills him instantly. Tanjiro tries a frontal attack but his sword is sliced by an incoming thread. Barely dodging, Tanjiro's face is slashed. Inosuke challenges Gyu but is tied to a tree and denied. Shinobu gives Zenitsu an antidote to stop the poison, while the others are tended by Kakushi, trained assistants and crew to the Demon Slayer corpse. Unable to defeat him, Tanjiro is nearly killed by Rui's webs, only for Nezuko to join and take the hit, severely wounding her. Surprised by her devotion to him, Rui declares Nezuko will become his new sister, rejecting daughter and sending her away. He then reveals he is lower 5 of the 12 Kizuki and abducts Nezuko, stringing her up in his threads and causing horrific wounds. He taunts Tanjiro into beheading him, who attempts to do so but finds his neck too tough. Using his water-breathing's final form, he manages to cut the threads, but Rui infuses new ones in his blood, making them more powerful. Using his blood demon art, he prepares to kill Tanjiro in a cage of threads. Near death, he sees a vision of his father, telling him to breathe and become Hinokami. He recalls how, despite a frail body, his father would annually perform a night-long dance in frigid weather, using a special breathing style that never let him tire. Remembering it, Tanjiro uses the style Hinokami Kagura and successfully cuts the stronger threads. Pushing himself to fight and save Nezuko, Tanjiro uses the new technique and overwhelms Rui. When he sends more threads to kill him, Nezuko uses her own blood demon art, igniting her blood and burning them away. Using Nezuko's burning blood, Tanjiro declares their bond won't ever be severed and beheads Rui. After the battle, an exhausted Tanjiro crawls to Nezuko, only to smell blood, instead of ash after a demon dies. Rui reveals he had cut off his own head to avoid dying. Enraged, he prepares to kill Tanjiro once more but is stopped by Gyu. Despite using his most powerful attack, Rui is defeated by Giyu, using his own form of water breathing. Daughter flees the forest, as she remembers how she was found by Rui and asked to be part of his family. Rui recruited other demons into his family, assigning them roles to be his family members. However, Rui's abuse caused conflict and pain within the family. One night, daughter's sisters had attempted to run away from the family, but was captured and left to die in the sunlight by Rui. In the present, daughter comes across Murata and ensnares him in an acidic cocoon. She is suddenly met by Shinobu, who initially wants to befriend her but only after ruthlessly punishing her for murdering the demon slayers. Disturbed, daughter fights back but is outclassed by Shinobu's superior speed. Unable to behead demons, Shinobu wields a special sword, laced with deadly wisteria-based poison. She defeats and kills daughter, and frees Murata. As Rui's head falls, he sees Tanjiro hugging Nezuko and remembers why he wanted to create his family, to feel a familial bond. Rui recalls his past. Born with a frail and weak body, he was confined indoors at all times. He was found by Muzan, who pitied and transformed Rui. His parents soon discovered he had killed and ate someone. He awoke to his father trying to kill him and mortally wounded both his parents. But as his mother died, she apologized for not giving him a strong body, and he recalls his father's intentions was out of mercy, having planned to kill himself afterwards. Devastated, Rui realized they had a real bond. But Muzan pushed the contrary, driving Rui to become cold and heartless. Dying, Rui crawls to Tanjiro, who comforts him after smelling a scent of grief. Reunited with his parents in hell, they forgive Rui, causing him to break down in tears. Giyu scolds Tanjiro for showing pity at demons, but he defends them as hopeless, tragic creatures, as that they were once human. When Giyu remembers Tanjiro and Nezuko from their past encounter, he defends the two from Shinobu. Confused, she and Giyu battle as Tanjiro runs with Nezuko. Fleeing, he faces a girl trying to kill Nezuko, who knocks him unconscious but is unable to slash the evading Nezuko. A Kashugai crow then announces that Tanjiro and Nezuko are to be taken to the Demon Slayer headquarters. Kakushi soon find Inosuke and take him to recover elsewhere. Zenitsu has finished being treated, and recognizes the girl as one of the survivors of final selection. As he awakens, Tanjiro finds himself in front of the Hashira. The Hashira, the strongest of the Demon Slayer corps, put him on trial for carrying Nezuko, a demon. Flame Hashira Kyojuro Rengoku agrees to kill him for breaking the rules and is supported by Sound Hashira Te, Injin Uzui and Stone Hashira Gyomi Himejima. Mitsuri Kenroji, the Love Hashira, Objects and the Mist Hashira, Muichiro Tokito, is indifferent. Serpent Hashira Obanae Guro, insists that Giyu is guilty as well for letting Tanjiro live. Giyu, revealed as the Water Hashira, ignores them and Shinobu, the Insect Hashira, insists to not be too hasty. She asks Tanjiro on why he carries her. He tells his story but is objected by Obanae is false. He insists Nezuko has not harmed anyone and Mitsuri is unsure they can proceed without their masters in sight. They are then joined by the harsh and aggressive Wind Hashira, Tsunemi Shinizugawa, who believes Tanjiro is lying and stabs Nezuko through her box. When Tanjiro injures him, Tsunemi threatens to kill him when they are joined by the master, the revered Kaguya Yubuyoshiki, who informs them he has sanctioned Tanjiro's actions. When the Hashira still disagree, he reveals a letter from Urokodaki, the former Water Hashira. Urokodaki wrote to Kageyatha, T. Nezuko is fully capable of resisting humans and he, Giyu and Tanjiro would kill themselves if it ever happened. Kaguya reveals Tanjiro has also met Muzan Kibitsuji and that he was directly targeted by demons sent by him. Though they realize Tanjiro's importance, Tsunemi still objects and aims to prove Nezuko can't be trusted. He slices his forearm, stabs Nezuko twice more and taunts her, waving the scent of his blood in her face. Nezuko emerges from her box and stares at Tsunemi, salivating. In front of everyone, Nezuko shows she is able to resist Tsunemi's taunts, despite him having rare blood more attractive to demons. Kaguya sees this as direct proof, and though he knows some won't accept this, he tells Tanjiro to show them as he recognizes both as demon slayers. Tanjiro vows to kill Muzan. Though Kaguya reminds him he is ill-equipped and to start by killing a Kizuki demon, to his embarrassment. After his trial is finished, the siblings are taken by Kakushi to Shinobu's estate, the Butterfly Mansion, to recover. They encounter Shinobu's protege, Kanao Suyuri, who Tanjiro recognizes as the girl from Final Selection. They ask for permission to enter, though she ignores them. The Akushi are eventually allowed in by Aoi Kanzaki, a helper of the mansion. Tanjiro sees Zenitsu, still recovering from his near transformation into a spider. He also shows Inosuke next to him, who ENSW. As in a low and gruff voice from having his throat crushed by father. Finally resting, he reflects on his meeting with the Hashira and the master and reaffirms his promise to Nezuko. In a meeting, Hashira reflect on the worsening damage caused by the demons and the less skilled new demon slayers. Yomi adds that since only those who lost people to demons have joined the corps, they can't simply add more people to fight. Kyojuro reminds them Tanjiro had encountered a Kizuki demon only soon after joining, even they rarely get to face them. Kaguya notes that Rui's drastic actions mean that Muzan isn't near Mount Natagumo. Since he always creates a diversion like he did in Asakusa. At the end, Kaguya recognizes them all as the strongest Hashira since the beginning and reaffirms his faith in them. Alone by himself, he vows they will kill Muzan without fail. While recovering, Tanjiro meets with Murata, who gravely tells him of his meeting with the Hashira and how they admonished the new demon slayers as incompetent. Scared of them, he leaves when Shinobu arrives. She reminds Tanjiro that he and Inosuke need to be rehabilitated. But they return from their session broken and exhausted, frightening Zenitsu. When he recovers, he witnesses the unusual and difficult challenges they've been facing. He takes Tanjiro and Inosuke outside and criticizes them for acting miserable when they are touched by girls. A joyous Zenitsu and Inosuke, remotivated to beat him, are able to best Aoi in the challenges, while Tanjiro lags behind. However, none are able to beat Kanao, demoralized Zen. Itsu and Inosuke then stop attending the sessions. Tanjiro, wanting to know how she is so fast, is then informed by the girls of the Butterfly Mansion, Sumi Nakahara, Kyo Terauchi and Naho Takada. Nav uses a different technique called total concentration constant in that she and the Hashira always use it. They also mention a different method of blowing into special gods to increase lung power. Motivated, Tanjiro trains alone, using the mansion surrounding as makeshift obstacles and maintaining total concentration constant at all times. He is met by Shinobu, who commends his spirit. When asked why she took them in, Shinobu tells him she would like to entrust her dream of demons and human peace in him. Tanjiro then asks if she is angry despite always smiling. Stunned, Shinobu tells of the repeated pain of seeing the harm demons create, as well as the other Hashira also feeling this way. She talks to Tanjiro about her elder sister, who was sympathetic to demons like him. When she was killed, Shinobu tried to adopt her kind personality but struggled due to her hatred of demons. Hearing her trust in him, Tanjiro focuses on the pain of his family's death and his promise to Nezuko. Tanjiro recruits Naho, Sumi and Kyo to help him maintain total concentration constant throughout the day and night. Eventually, Tanjiro begins to improve, but to chase Kanao and blow up a small god. Zenitsu and Inosuke see this and too wish to improve. They consult Shinobu and she tells them what Tanjiro is achieving. They ask Tanjiro, but his explanation only confuses them. Shinobu appears and encourages the two in ways that appeal to them. Outside in the yard, the three are now hard at work, aiming to improve their strength and master total concentration constant. Shinobu asks Kanao if she wants to join them. She flips a coin and reminisces on her past. Born into an abusive and poor family, she was beaten for showing emotion and was broken psychologically. Sold as a slave, she was met by Shinobu and her sister Kani. They purchased Kanao from her owner and adopted her into the Butterfly Mansion. They witness firsthand how incapable she is of making decisions, making Shinobu uncertain. Kani refuses to give up and gives Kanao a coin to help her make choices. Having decided, Kanao walks away from the trio training. Tanjiro and Inosuke are re-given new swords by Hotaru and Kozo Kanemori, though Hotaru is angered upon learning Tanjiro's original sword was broken. Inosuke takes his new blades and chips them to his liking with a rock, infuriating Kozo. The two leave angry while Tanjiro incessantly apologizes. Soon, Tanjiro becomes the first to defeat Kanao in all challenges, causing Zenitsu and Inosuke to work even harder. When Tanjiro meets with Shinobu for his checkup, he asks her about his Hinokami Kagura. Though Shinobu is unsure, she mentions he could perhaps ask the Flame Hashira, though he is currently away on a mission. In his room, Tanjiro reaffirms his goal to help Tamayo's research and return his sister into a human but becomes uncertain. Nezuko unexpectedly answers, encouraging him. Months ago, following Rui's death, the remaining lower ranks are summoned into a castle controlled by a demoness with a biwa. They see but don't recognize Muzan, who has masked his aura and appearance, until he commands them to kneel. He informs them that lower 5 has been killed and demands to know why the lower ranks are so weak. Muzan then kills them all but lower 1 for doing things he deems disrespectful. He then asks for lower 1's last words. He reveals how jubilant and honored he is for dying at Muzan's hands, and how much he enjoyed hearing and sensing the pain and anguish his comrades had just suffered. Instead of killing him, Muzan rewards him with a large amount of his blood to strengthen him, saying he can be useful by killing a Hashira. He adds that he can gain more if he specifically kills Tanjiro. Lo, a 1 is cast from the castle dimension and sees a vision of his target. In the present, a Kashugai crow tells Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke of their new mission to investigate the Mugen train, where 40 people have disappeared. Tanjiro encounters Genya Shinizugawa from final selection but is ignored. Tanjiro visits Aoi, thanking her for helping him. She denies this, saying she survived final select. Tien by luck as she was too cowardly to battle. He says that he'll carry her feelings into the battlefield for her. He says goodbye to Kanao, who flips a coin to determine if she should talk to him. When the coin lands tails, she tells him goodbye and explains she uses the coin to decide things she hasn't been ordered to do, since she can't decide for herself. Tanjiro takes her coin and flips 4 heads to decide if she'll listen to the voice of her heart and make her own choices. It lands heads, prompting Kanao to ask Tanjiro how he do that, convinced that he did not cheat. Tanjiro, smiling, explains it just happened by luck, but that he would have flipped the coin as many times as necessary to get her to follow her heart. Tanjiro leaves and says goodbye, leaving Kanao smitten and in shock. Before leaving, Tanjiro sees Gyu and thanks him for his dedication to Nezuko. Gyu says he can thank him by slaying demons, which Tanjiro promises. The three make it to the train station B. Inosuke causes a scene as he has never seen a train. They attract the attention of the police and flee. Zenitsu explains the demon slayers aren't recognized by the government, which doesn't know that demons exist. They jump onto the train as it leaves. On the train with them are Kyojuro and Lower 1.